And the human spirit is the same in all ages and in all cultures. So let us say that we will yield and save Mother Russia. We will yield now and save Mother Russia. Let me hear you say that.
We will yield now and save Mother Russia.
Yes. Let us pray for peace.
Let us pray for peace.
Oh God,
save thy people.
The children are never referred to as younger or older, but as shorter or taller. Nearly half of the school's enrollment is short, under 5 years of age. Many will continue on into the upper grades, and the foundation gained during these early years will make their studies that much more meaningful when they're tall.
El gato es verde. Everyone. El gato es verde.
Learning different languages is a priority. This Spanish class is being conducted by the grandmother of one of the children.
Blanco, everybody say it.
This is a cosmopolis. They cannot go through life with just English. And again, that's very arrogant to think everyone should be speaking English. And furthermore, as Leibniz said, that he who gains another language gains another soul. We're not sitting anyone down and we're gluing them to the chair and we're boring a hole and pouring knowledge in. You can't do that. But we're making learning the fun game it should be. Grandmothers used to do this at home. These are the children that we see the greatest flowering. Although we do have many children come and join us when they are older, but the ones that we have had from 3 or 4, there's usually evidence of that background. You see, the other thing, too, is that the older children are teaching the younger children, and they're teaching them what they're learning. This is the school assuming the role of family. We can't lose family. It's the taproot of civilization. We need to create as many avenues as possible for these children to both receive and to give love. Good. Friendship means equality. And today, when the political situation is intermingled with great racial tension, I think it's essential that we look at other civilizations and other cultures, that they have as much to give to us as we have to give to them. So if we're going to get to know them, I think that the schools should provide the opportunity for the students to understand them.
And to better understand other cultures and to make what they've studied more meaningful, the Wilhelm Schole program includes a number of field trips to various museums and historic points of interest throughout the state. Here, in keeping with the ongoing study of China, some of the children visited an exhibit of treasures from Shanghai at the Houston Museum of Fine Arts. And in Herman Park stands a dramatic sculpture by Hannah Stewart. She invited the children to her studio to see a work in progress called The Sentinel, depicting the 7 traditional cultures.
You are the guardian of civilization. We as teachers must transmit to you the wisdom of our ancestors, the Egyptians, the Chinese, the Indians, the Greeks, the Hebrews, the Arabs, the Persians, and then you are the next link.
Field trips are not limited to Houston, and it was a special occasion when a group of students, accompanied by several teachers and parents, boarded a bus for a 3-day trip to Austin and San Antonio. At the State House in Austin, they had the opportunity to meet the governor of Texas, Mark White. And nearby, at the Henry Ransom Art Center, they were surrounded by Greek statuary and amazed the University of Texas Dean of Classics, Dr. Carl Galinsky, with their knowledge of Greek history. In San Antonio, there were guests of Dr. Amy Freeman Lee, a renowned scholar and humanitarian who serves as a board member of the school. Here at Incarnate Word College, they had the opportunity for a little rest and relaxation and to write a daily account of their trip. Newly elected to the Texas Hall of Fame, Dr. Lee was particularly anxious for the children to visit the state's most famous historic landmark, the Alamo.
And I've often wondered when we talk about the battles that we fought, whether we could have gotten together in those days and talked it out, you see, and how you tie that time into today. Remember, today it is possible through nuclear energy to kill everybody on this earth. And so now we no longer have the privilege of fighting it out, because if we fight it out, we'll kill everybody on the planet eventually. We must now sit down and talk it out.
If you don't have this,
And at the Institute of Texan Cultures, Dr. Carolyn Black explained some of the traditional Indian folklore. A group of Boy Scouts who'd been studying Indian culture included the children in a ceremonial dance. The well-known San Antonio Festival included a performance of Carmen at the picturesque Armisen Theater. Here, the children attended a rehearsal and were invited to participate in one of the scenes. A highlight of the trip was a Mexican dinner by candlelight on one of the flatboats that cruise along the San Antonio River through the city. The final stop was the beautiful McNay Gallery, where the famous Rodin sculptor, The Burghers of Calais, is on exhibit.
You see that in the gestures of these people, you can feel their thoughts.
And here the children saw an original Cézanne landscape, a painting they were familiar with, but only through small reproductions.
And when you come to Cézanne, he is like an Oriental artist. He wants you to come from the back to the front. And like an Oriental artist, he always leaves something for the imagination. You must complete the paintings.
With the visual arts as the centerpiece of all of their studies, it was appropriate that the school was invited to contribute to a collection of children's artworks from 80 countries throughout the world. This international exhibit was on display at the United Nations under the sponsorship of UNICEF and was arranged by the Foundation of Children's History, Art and Culture in Oslo, Norway. The Wilhelm Schole's paintings paid tribute to all those who have contributed to our common heritage. The Wilhelm Schole Credo states, "Where there is love, there is concern. Where there is concern, there is kindness. Where there is kindness, there is harmony. Where there's harmony, there is helpfulness. Where there is helpfulness, there is cooperation. And where there is cooperation, there is civilization." Perhaps Dr. Lee articulated best how this credo can apply to the children of today's complex society.
We must move ahead rapidly, yesterday, if we hope to survive on the planet, with this kind of an approach, the holistic approach, the kind of approach that says, first we must learn how to live on the level of a human being, and then we learn how to make a living. I don't want to be misunderstood about this. I'd be the last in the world. I come from a business family. I come from the philosophy of the possibility of benevolent capitalism. We all have to make a living. We make it blood, sweat, and tears, or we marry it, or we inherit a little bit, or whatever, but it has to be made. But what I'm saying is, what good does it do to know how to be a doctor and be a mere technician if you don't know why you should be a doctor, to serve? So first you learn to be a human being. And that's what's going on at this school, to help the children discover their innate potential and develop that innate potential to the maximum. For what reason? So that they can have capabilities to serve the common weal, not to be selfish, to make the choice, as Mrs. Wilhelm says to them over and over, to give and to receive love.